Welcome back to Bodanza Disc Golf. Today I want to talk about 3 of the best beginner discs that are very underrated in my opinion. So I guess underrated beginner discs, which are all in the same category. We're going to do one of my normal 3 disc reviews with them, meaning that we'll throw them all off the tee, only taking the first one. We'll revolve which one gets the box every single hole. But if I don't shoot 3 down or better, one of these is going in my 50K subscriber giveaway. We're actually at a new park that I haven't played in a while. Oh, and the one that goes in is the CTP winner, because CTPs count for who wins on these guys. These discs are one that the OGs love, one that I've only seen specific pros on a specific team throw, and one that, since I'm not in Texas, I've never seen thrown before. But it's the Leopard from Innova, kind of classic star Leopard. It's a 6-speed, 6.5, -2.1, same as the Stig. 6.5, -2.1, another 6-speed from Castoplast. This one definitely feels closer to a mid-range in the fact that all these are kind of hybrid mid-range fairway drivers. Since mid-ranges are typically 4 and 5 speeds, fairway drivers are typically 7, 8, 9, sometimes 10 speeds. The Leopard feels closer to a fairway driver-ish. It's just a little chunkier. And then this is the new disc here, the Mint Disc Salamander. They call it 6.5, -2.2, I believe. And this one looks more fairway driver than even the Leopard. So we'll see how these fly. But one other great disc that beginners might like is my new Tour Series Sphinx. I'll show you that on one of these holes. We're actually starting on hole 2 because there's a bunch of kids playing on hole 1 because I think it's a recess for a school around here maybe. We'll flip and the odd man out will be the first one to tee. Salamander, all right. I decided to come to a pretty short course today. It's called CTP Park at Fruitdale, or CTP at Fruitdale Park. I don't know. CTP used to be a shop here in Denver. 151 feet, but it'll range from this distance all the way up to 400 on one of the holes. Most being distances that if you are a beginner or you're working on your arm speed, you'll be able to recognize a lot of these holes and a lot of the flights on them. So 151 feet to get started. I believe there used to be a Mando on that tree. So we'll go to the left of it and throw these all on a little hyzer forehand. Because they're understable, you don't really need to throw them very hard. And you can kind of just pop them out there, and hopefully they fly well. Salamander first. Oh, a little bit out there. We'll throw the Leopard second, and then the Stig. The Leopard, this thing is a classic for a reason. The Stig, though, this plastic, I think feels the best out of all of these. Oh, that was pretty good. Oh, wow. I honestly expected that to be a little slower, but I honestly seemed to come out of my hand a little fast. Oh my gosh, it's still rolling. What the heck? All right, Leopard is one up on the CTPs. Hopefully I can make this putt to get started. But something else beginners need, or anybody needs, is shoes. My favorite shoes for disc golf are Vessies, the sponsor of today's video. This video is sponsored by Vessi, the makers of my favorite shoes in disc golf. For one main reason, among a ton of others, they are 100% waterproof. I'm filming this having just finished up playing a tournament where I shot 10-11 rated for the whole event, and I actually partially have my Vessies to thank because every time I would play disc golf before I was wearing these, I would play at least 6 holes in the morning rounds with wet socks, and I hate wet socks. This morning was no different. There's a ton of frost on the ground because it had snowed overnight, and I didn't have to worry about that at all. My socks stayed completely dry. The grip on these is also very good, and they have 2 variations of my favorite shoe. These are the Stormburst high tops. They have this little sock, so they add a little bit of additional waterproofness, whether you're trudging through really long grass or you just throw your disc a little farther in the water. My personal favorite are these Stormburst low tops, and recently Vessi made everything even better if you want to purchase their shoes because they offer a 30-day return or exchange guarantee as well as 1 year of a warranty, and everything over $110 ships for free. If you want to save a little bit of extra money, use my link vessi.com/bodanza, also linked in the description and the pinned comment, and you can get 15% off your first order of Vessis. Shop with peace of mind and wear the same shoes that a lot of the top pros are also wearing, as well as myself. Vessi.com/bodanza, 15% off your first order. Back to the 6 speeds. So funny story about this one, hole 2. I played tags out here one time before I had Vessis, obviously, and I shot 1 over on the round on this hole because you played it twice. I parred it once and I bogeyed it another time. What in the world? Okay, first part of the day. Can't expect too much, but this hole, it's in my head. Ay. What am I doing? That maybe wasn't the right story to talk about before I have my first putt of the day. So, hole 2, 317 feet, right to left wind. Since they're all a little understable, as you throw them really hard, that just means that when you don't throw them that hard, they're gonna glide a little more. So they'll push to your destination a little faster. So even though the flight of this and something a lot more overstable, think like a Firebird, 9304. They're not gonna look too different if you don't throw very hard. One of them's gonna go a lot farther than the other, and it'll feel easier to throw too, because it doesn't feel like it's just dumping out of your hand. Ride the wind, baby. Oof, okay, I thought that'd actually flip a little more and then ride it. Didn't seem to. Stig next. That one has a little more flip. Maybe that's why it seemed to be faster, because it's a touch flippier. Closer, neither of them are really pushing super far left. That makes sense. They're 6 feet. They're not gonna move very far left or right, because they're a little slower. So Salamander will give more hyzer and a little more height after I get a CTP. I think that'll do it. Long putt from the Leopard. Oh, just for fun too. Here's my Sphinx. Touch more overstable, or actually similar stability to a lot of these. More of like a -2 disc, I think. Oh yeah, baby. But it's a 9-speed, so it's a little faster too. 1 CTP for the Salamander, 1 for the Leopard. Should be for the Sphinx, but that one doesn't count. Oh! Ay. 226 straight ahead. We're gonna see how these guys want to fly on a pretty flat line at it. There's a little of this wind, so if we throw it flat at it, they might drift a little, might fade a little, but it's still pretty short. So they'll probably mostly fade. Actually, probably mostly go straight. Little nose up, very straight, a little left. Salamander next. So straight. Wow. Better nose angle, slightly more nose down. I think it's easier on these ones for me that feel a little more like fairway drivers to get the nose slightly down. And Leopard. Wow, that's so straight. Wow, that's really straight. Holy cow. The Stig, I popped the front of the disc kind of up the nose, so it ends up kind of a lot of air hitting it, and it wants to fade earlier than those other two. It's got a little more neutral nose angle, corrected off the first one. But even the Stig floated straight for a while and got to the distance. So they'll all be kind of super straight point and shooters. They're not going to turn a lot if you're not throwing them over 250 feet. So I'm interested to see when we get to a slightly longer hole that's not just a hyzer, what they look like. And I think the last hole is like 440. I don't know if we'll be able to get there. Ooh, Leopard got it again. Really close in there. I'm gonna need to start dropping these putts. Oh my goodness. Slightly left side, but that went straight through the chains. Even through 3, Leopard is up 2-1 on the Salamander. The Stig is yet to get a CTP. 289 feet. We got a mostly headwind, slight left to right. So at this distance, I think throwing them out left, pretty flat. The wind should help them turn, but they should also get a little drift. Or throwing them a decent bit nose up, then you definitely should put them on some anhyzer so that the wind can help drift it. But if you're able to throw slightly more neutral nose angle or even just slightly nose up, they'll probably work flat, especially at this elevation. We're up in Denver. So Salamander has the box, 289 right to that mound. Oh, wow. That was pretty nice. Leopard next. Oh, not as flippy. I feel like I threw those similar. Salamander definitely flipped a little easier. Wow, that Leopard is pretty overstable for the numbers, which I think makes sense. If you've ever, if you play disc golf, you might have had a DX Leopard in your life before. It's kind of like everyone's first disc. It was my first disc too, one of them. And that thing is very flippy. I'm interested to see how the Stig flies. Okay, much more like the Salamander. Okay, but I think it's easier for me to pop the nose up with it being like more mid-range feeling. I tend to throw my mids more nose up than my fairways. So I almost need to throw that one a little more nose down intentionally, or more anhyzer. Sphinx. Come on, fade in there. Oh, wow, way long, jeez. I think I can finally make a putt. Great shot from the Salamander. Glad it was the first one too. And now the Salamander and the Leopard are all tied up. And I'm one down, so that's good. I think the Stig does fly probably a little less far than these two. I don't know. I was very surprised by that. 329 here. Sometimes it's a little uncomfortable throwing a little too slow, so hopefully throwing these more typical, like 60-70% distances here, about 330, I'll be able to see how it flies. Leopard is the box. I think these ones, similarly, we have a little bit of this wind. So I'm gonna try to throw them flat, a little right, see if they turn and fade. I'll probably be able to be a little more consistent on these shots though. Wow, that's stable. Touch of hyzer. It's down there. That's probably maybe 15, 20 feet short. Wow, that's really stable. My like flat sometimes is like this amount of hyzer right here. It just feels comfortable. So that's kind of what that came out, and I expected it to flip up and ride, and it didn't. We'll see how the Stig does on that same line. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Wow, I think that's why people love that disc on Castoplast. That was within a 10-foot corridor. That's really nice. I think that's the beauty of that one being closer to mid-range and throwing it closer to like how I typically throw something like that. Definitely fast mid-range because I didn't throw it very hard and it got 330 pretty easily. I think this one's gonna be a little flippier just based on the last one. It feels more like a Crave slot, like 6.5 speed, but we'll see how it flies. Salamander. Okay, pop the nose up a little bit more. I think expecting it to be a little faster, and that was on me. So I do think that Stig, I wasn't liking it too much for those first 4 holes, or not as much as these other ones, but after that shot, throwing these all closer to like how I'd like to throw a smooth, soft shot, that was by far my favorite. But the Stig's the only one that's pin high. The Leopard's actually about 40 feet short. Wow, Leopard and Salamander, same distance. Stig got that flip a little easier. I like that disc a lot, wow. 2 to 1. Stig got that one right there pretty easily. Outside the circle here. There we go. That was nice. We got another kind of low 3s. 350 actually. It'll be good to see how they fly on this one, especially because they'll have a slight headwind. This will really expose the differences in these discs. I think the Leopard and the Salamander are closer than either of them are to the Stig, but the Salamander is a touch flippier, just based off these first 5. Now we really get to test it. Whew, not the best wind here. Pretty much straight headwind. So with a lot of hyzer, it'll still kind of flip and turn it. I do think Castoplast is kind of the GOAT 6-speed company. They had the CAX and the CAX Z, which now I don't even know if they have either of those, which is kind of sad. I think when they went to Latitude, they had to get rid of some molds or got manufactured by them now. The Stig though, I mean, this plastic still feels really good. Still feels Castoplasty. Yeah, this is, we'll see how it flies in this wind. 350 is gonna be pretty far. I think just a pure hyzer flip isn't quite gonna work. I really wanna turn it where that tree is. I might actually have to do a turnover around that tree. Oh my, that thing is pretty sweet. Oh, that was smooth too. Okay, Salamander. I think these ones, I actually can throw up that middle line. I don't think I would trust the Stig, but these ones, because they're a little faster, they want to fade more. The only one that the Stig seemed like it wanted to fade more than the other ones was when I threw it super nose up on the shorty a couple of holes ago. Every other time it's just kind of been straight. I'll still try these on that line, but I think because they're a little faster, I might actually throw them a touch more flat. Oh, okay, actually I needed a similar hyzer. Wow, that was very understable. Salamander definitely seems the most finicky out of all of these. I feel like I'm still questioning how it's gonna fly. This one, I think on that same line that I threw that on, it will work out. It's not gonna be as understable. And that's actually the mistake I was trying not to make, is keeping it a little too high. It's down there though, yeah. The Leopard's definitely the most overstable. Salamander might be the flippiest. Even though the CAX Z is also pretty understable, but because the Salamander feels the fastest, the faster something gets, the more touch you need to have with it to throw touchy lines, if that makes any sense. The slower disc, the more just kind of like, if it gets on turn, it's just gonna hold a turn, like you saw like CAX Z do. Whereas the Salamander kind of turned faster, but then started to fade faster too. So if anything, the Caxi and the Salamander might be more complementary for someone who is getting started in disc golf, because one of them is going to be a little faster. You can probably throw the Salamander farther, but you might be more consistent with the Stig. Stig! I keep saying Caxi. Shoot, Stig. Oh, sorry. Those first couple holes, I don't think I was quite getting the hype of the Stig, but I think I get it now. I also left my Sphinx over there. I'm glad I just saw that. Let's go. 3 down. This also, I think, is the best feeling plastic. This might be the winner for me today, just in general. But currently, through 6 holes, they're all tied up at 2 apiece for the CTPs. Well, you can see the wind blowing out there. That's a pretty big flag. Now we're getting into a good hole. Let's go. 279. Salamander's got the box right through there, so we got to kind of thread the needle, go either left or right side of that tree. That's kind of just to the right guard in the basket. Salamander, left to right wind, as you can probably see. So if it stays on hyzer, the wind's going to beat it down. So a little flat shot. Just hope it doesn't turn it that much. Oh, dang, that was looking so good. A touch more hyzer might have been a touch better, but I think that same shot with this Leopard's perfect because it's a little more overstable. A little short. Okay, now I'm interested to see how this flies because we got that left to right. Since it's more mid-rangey, might not get taken as much by the wind. The Leopard I ended up tossing a little softer, like a baby. So hopefully, just throw a beauty with the Stig. Yeah, I get the hype now. I get the hype. Oh my gosh, that thing is really sick. Oh, that's a putt back. Dang, I got a comebacker to stay at 3 down. Oh, it's kind of a, just chuck it up there putt. Not what you want to do in the wind. Gas the plastic Stig, absolutely parked though, so officially winning after being over through the first 4 holes. It would be unfortunate to not shoot 3 down too, because this disc is sick. Love to keep it. Yep. Let's go. Focus. Big ol' headwind, 436 feet. I guess CTP is going to be long drive on this hole. Wow, this is kind of crazy. Almost going to aim at the basketball courts and just let it fade this way or turn that way, because the fence is OB and the basket is kind of behind that bush that you can see way down there by the minivan. Threw it so low. I think it's like straight on the basketball court. All right, Stig next. A little too much turn. I'm struggling with this really short run up. There's a massive jump up onto the tee pad here. All right, don't struggle. See if that works. That's the best shot. That thing is definitely the flippiest. The most hyzer, the most out there. That might have been another CTP for that one. Stig was always going to be the hardest, being the most mid-rangey. That's honestly such an unfortunate tee pad for a 440-foot shot with these tee pads already being small. So not worried about it. I'll have a look from the basketball court over here. I just need to throw a second good shot with the Leopard. Wow. Oh yeah! Oh my gosh! Let's go! This is a really good disc too. I'd say they're all different enough, and I wasn't expecting that. I mean, the shapes aren't exactly quite the same, but I was expecting them to be a touch more similar than they all ended up being. The Stig is definitely a hybrid. The Leopard and the Salamander feel more like slow fairways. And the Salamander is the flippiest. It's also the flattest. So maybe if there's like a domey run of Salamander, it turns closer to the other ones, because sometimes flatter discs, they'll turn harder and fade harder. But the last hole is only 180 feet. Right to left tailwind. Stig has the box. Throw some forehands at it. This has been fun. I think any of these are good options if you're getting started. Stig definitely turned out to be my favorite. And currently, it's one behind the Salamander. Okay. That's got a little more bite to it when you throw it on that hyzer. I thought because of the wind, it would push it over to the left more. Didn't. Wow. Okay, definitely did what I thought would happen to the Stig more, and I think it's because it's a touch more understable. This one's gonna have to be a little flatter if I wanna get even close. Wow, definitely the beefiest. Not great runs, not great shots. Not the best forehand disc, but definitely something that you can work on. That was crazy. What the heck? What's the wind doing out there? Hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe if you want to watch some more of my stuff. I have so many videos. If you are a beginner, shop Infinite Discs. That's my sponsor. They have the best prices. And big shout out to Vessi for sponsoring this video. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, but let's hopefully make this putt, worst case scenario, par. How did that not drop? Well, not my best showing, so it looks like we got a Salamander going in the 50K subscriber giveaway. So subscribe for that. A lot of goodies in there now. Pretty poor ending. Okay, see you in the next one. Bye.